listening to the Pharmacy Podcast Network.
Todd Eury, Pharmacy Podcast Network. Started back in 2009 before I think podcasting was even that popular, and it's come a long way, and we're excited about our new studio, as you can see here. I have a special guest in the studio with us today to announce several initiatives coming in 2023, but it is a thrill to have the one and only Nicolle McClure from GRX Marketing, the founder and CEO, in our studio. Nicolle, this is a treat for me. This is so exciting that you're here.
Yeah, likewise. Excited to be here.
So tell, if the audience doesn't know about GRX Marketing, just give a short background on yourself, because I have so much to get into you with in this episode.
Yeah, so I'm president and owner of GRX Marketing, and we're a full service marketing company that works exclusively with independent pharmacies across the country.
See, it was short and sweet.
Just like that.
And painful. And we're done. Hey, welcome. Thank you. We'll talk to you next week. Yeah. So I have a lot going on that I'm excited to share with. And it was very serendipitous that we got back together when we did. I've known you for years. I guessed 2015, you guessed 2012. When you get old like me, it's starting to like fade away. But I am charged up. There's a lot of naysayers. There's a lot of glass half full kind of people out there. I'm not one of them. I think that the market of what is pharmacy and healthcare is in a renaissance of sorts. It's kind of reinventing itself, and community pharmacies at the heart of that. And you have watched community pharmacy since 2004 when you entered. By the way, you entered marketing the same time that I entered pharmacy. So I entered pharmacy in 2004, came from telecom, and worked for SoftWriters, which was a pharmacy management system for long-term care. And you began work with Medicap.
Yeah.
So that's interesting that our careers in pharmacy basically kind of grew at the same time. And we have been witnessing community pharmacy changing. I think it's going through those 2 to 5 year changes, but we've seen it accelerate because of how payments changing. And because of that, and because of what the pandemic taught us, we have to educate and support community pharmacists in the marketing realm so that they can keep up. So give us your state of the nation of what you think's happening in community pharmacy, and how you think digital and podcasting, which we're going to talk more about, and communications, good thought out communications with your potential client / patient / markets in general, how that's going to be impacted.
There's a lot of questions.
All jammed into one.
Yeah. So I'll just say, like you, a lot going on in the industry, and but there's also a lot of opportunity as well. And I think, especially through cash-based programs like, weight loss and clinical. And I mean, we're seeing that shift into functional medicine and testing and things like that. And I think a lot of, on the functional side with testing, came out of COVID, because a lot of pharmacies never did testing before. So starting with COVID testing, and now a lot of them have moved on to flu and strep, or, maybe doing more functional type with pharmacogenetics and things like that. So I think there's a real opportunity to have community pharmacies expand into those things. During COVID, they became such a focal point in their community, a resource for people to go to of, at the start of the pandemic, it was such a day-to-day thing of what's going on, how do I test for it? And then, how do I get vaccinated for it? And so community pharmacies were really kind of that resource. And almost it was like a rebirth for community pharmacy during COVID, because I think a lot of people discovered their community pharmacy during that time. So I think, from a marketing side, to kind of take that ambition or take that momentum that they got during COVID and helping their local community kind of through all that, and building on that through digital marketing, where they are getting on Facebook and talking about the services that they offer, or just being that educational resource of hey, it's November's Diabetes Month. Here's 3 tips to prevent diabetes type messaging, because I think in general, people are starving for information, and there's 1,000 places that they can go and get it, but they're really looking towards those that they already know and trust, and pharmacists are always one of the highest ranking trusts, people that are trusted. And so why don't community pharmacies be that resource base? So I think there's definitely an opportunity for that in the years to come.
I think, a community sees you in your city. They see you at the soccer games. They see you supporting the local mayor or whatever's going on. And now you have an opportunity to take what services you provide as a community pharmacy and push that out and roll that out, which brings me to kind of like our first subject that I really want to ask Nicolle about, and what you think about this, as well as announcing to our listeners. We want to come up with a supportive way to engage your community and the trust level that you already have in your community, and build podcasting into that philosophy of what you already know and the stories that you could tell. Imagine, Nicolle, the stories that a community pharmacist could tell to the listeners, to their clients, to people who already trust them, and then turn around and use that platform in your Facebook and your social media. You and I have been talking about this concept for about 1.5 years now, but from your client and customer base, who is that community pharmacy owner, what do you think of the concept of using podcasting as a mechanism of marketing the community pharmacy?
I mean, I think it's a great idea. I mean, podcasting has increased tenfold since the pandemic, and to give them a platform or a way to communicate to their local community, like you said, connecting with their mayor, or connecting with a local prescriber, or if they're doing compounding, veterinarian or something like that, or even just having a platform to give tips to their patients, or maybe people that aren't their patients, through their social media platforms, through their website. I mean, doing something like that not only has the benefit of getting that messaging out, but it can help them with their SEO, directing people back to their website and everything. So there's definitely, I think, a lot of opportunity for them.
Yep. So the concept for our listeners and who's listening right now is amplifying what you do, what you understand, what you know. The pandemic taught us how to connect better. I don't think any internet connection will ever take the place of being able to hug somebody or physically shake a hand or see somebody. And I'm an in front of people person. So that's never going to change. But why not use the element of social media to amplify what you're talking about, what you believe in, and how you want to help your community stay healthy. I love the concept of point of care testing, as well as diagnostic testing, which includes, as Nicolle has already kind of mentioned, the element of PGX pharmacogenomics. Does a drug affect you and your DNA a specific way versus someone else? Or immunizations, or birth control education night, where you bring in a young person and a parent, or a parental unit, and you talk about, hey, question and answers about birth control, and now being able to execute in many states where pharmacists are able to prescribe that, and how that becomes a notable, memorable, useful, and valuable service from you, the most trusted healthcare professional in healthcare, as the pharmacist. So let's go back to the concept of GRX marketing and kind of what your build out. I want to share your website with our listeners and people watching this video, and really go through some of the services and understand how podcasting can really plug into the services that you already do. So do you think that community pharmacists who are interesting to podcasting would use this on top of something else that you've already helped them to implement? And if that's the case, what do you think would match well with podcasting?
I think definitely, social media, and we've done a ton of new websites for pharmacies. So just build upon that. Those that are, with the website, they could even just have an educational page where it's different podcasts that they've done. And depending on how they want to spin it, they could do one that's exclusively more for prescribers. And so, connecting with doctors and stuff in different areas. And again, directing them to their website, which we've helped them put together, and helping, one of the things we do as well is help them reach out to prescribers in their local community and make those connections. And also just, we do a lot of strategic consulting and helping, just get their name out there, brand awareness, especially for brand new pharmacies, that don't have that foothold in their local marketplace, helping them, create a logo and a website and kind of the whole deal. A podcast would be a great way to introduce themselves into a new community, to the local consumers and prescribers and different target groups.
There's an element of listening to someone's voice where you can hear their passion and you can hear their sincerity.
Yeah.
And I've always picked that up when I listen to podcasts. I love the personality of people and that's coming through audio. And I think we can work with you as a pharmacy owner, either in the form of video, audio, audio definitely as the front end. But if this is a video opportunity for you, then that's the way it should be. It's really going to be up to you. There's going to be some customizations in this. I think we're going to build a package for community pharmacy owners that is very specific to be able to keep costs low, because we understand what everybody's going through right now with regards to some of the adjustments that we're making because of our recession and some of the inflation that's happening out there. But there is such a huge opportunity for pharmacists to educate the public in a way that the public is desperate for, because of who do you trust and where am I getting my information and what's happening on Instagram or what's happening on TikTok. And is that truth? And the truth being delivered by that community pharmacist that you already know and you already trust. I'm excited about the opportunity. I want to know also from your perspective and helping pharmacists roll something out, how would they get their message out that they have this podcast available? What are some of the ideas that you have in getting the announcement out that this is available to your community?
I think you could do it in a couple of different ways. Good old fashioned bag stuffers or posters inside the pharmacy with either a QR code to take them right to the podcast, or just more information on it. Obviously on social media, announcing the podcast anytime they come out with a new episode, and then through their website as well. And then, encouraging if they do any sort of local interviews with the mayor or another prescriber, asking them to put it on their social media and their website, just to kind of help grow that web of the digital message out there. So
your role with your own organization is transforming, and you and I are in interesting places within our growth of our companies. And it was bootstrapping for me for the longest time. And in 2019, I went full time and did nothing but pharmacy podcast network and what I believe in amplifying our voice of our pharmacists. But you are ready to become that strategic lead and really helping not only individual pharmacy owners, but groups of pharmacy take advantage of the collective intelligence of pharmacists. And I want you to share with the listeners and the viewers, if you're out there, that your own resurrection of your own podcast and what you plan on doing for our listeners that are going to be tuning in.
Yeah, so I'm definitely excited to relaunch the Pharmacy Simplified podcast, Pharmacy Marketing Simplified podcast. Sorry. It's been something that I've started with Todd many years ago, and fortunately have, not done as many as I would hope, just with my role prior to purchasing the company in July of last year. And as Todd mentioned, things have changed and evolved for me, and I've got a great team behind me. So one of my goals for 2023 is to relaunch the podcast and, really bring easy tips for community pharmacy owners to market their pharmacy. And that's kind of what GRX Marketing is founded upon. We really try to provide low cost, easy to implement ideas for our clients because, we know you guys don't have $20,000 to spend on a TV campaign or whatever it is. So, the podcast really transcends from ideas that we give our clients all the time, whether it's, marketing your local community, Facebook giveaways, talking to prescribers, how do you go in and talk to them? What do you take with you? Rebranding, maybe you're wanting to do a whole new rebrand of your pharmacy, or a pharmacy's closed in your area. What do you do to specific services on packaging, compounding? So definitely excited to, bring some of our current clients on board that have been doing some great things, but also, connecting with some of our great partners and learning what they're doing and, getting marketing tips from them as well. So yeah, I'm excited.
Absolutely. I'm excited too. I learned a lot from the episodes that you put out. I really enjoyed the episodes that you would engage with other pharmacy owners about their ideas around marketing and communications. And I want this to be a way for us to share best practices with pharmacy owners who are looking to level up or implement something, especially with the coming of increasing. A shout out to Dr. Kristen Talent, who's our new POC Talk pharmacist, who's going to concentrate on point of care testing. Shout out to you, Kristen, because point of care testing is going to become a big opportunity to pull in your community. Instead of going to Quest Diagnostics or some other testing site, you can come to your community pharmacy and do multiple testings. And then also one of our clients, which I'm sure Pharmacy Podcast Network listeners have heard about, is Babson Diagnostics. They are a blood testing organization that's going to push their blood testing services 100% through pharmacies, through community and chain and grocery store, and where it makes sense for workflow, because sometimes of the geographic, how big areas that you have or do not have, setting up those little counseling centers to also have blood testing opportunities in them, so that your pharmacy tech could take little droplets of blood on your finger. So I'm excited about that as an empowerment to community pharmacy, to becoming a place, a one-stop shop for all things healthcare, as your community pharmacy already is. But there will be ideas coming through the network, as well as GRX Marketing and Pharmacy Marketing Simplified, of how to best market services and value of being that center, that destination of health. And we want your feedback. So if you're listening to the show and you're thinking, boy, I'd really like to learn more about XYZ, whatever that might be, shout out to GRX Marketing, shout out to Pharmacy Podcast Network. That's where we're developing the majority of our content, is from our pharmacists who are out there, grassroots, in the trenches, that understand what patients are actually experiencing and going through, including ways to differentiate yourself against some of the juggernauts, the big chains of the world. And that's not so much competition as the world of our PBMs and the way that we're being paid, how pharmacies are being paid, and the labor of love that is the business of pharmacy, and that side of it, which is a strain. But I think, and I shouldn't say I think, I know that over the next 2 to 5 years, we're going to see a tremendous amount of revenue shift from just being prescription-based to being services-based, and how the pharmacist can become an ongoing source of treatment for whatever that patient is going through, whether that be diabetes management, weight management. I even know pharmacists that are out there on TikTok, on Instagram, who have physical fitness and training and weight training side businesses, that they're consultants for weight training. And there's runners out there that are pharmacists that will help you to. So if you're listening, your imagination is the only limit of what you could do with your community pharmacy, and the fact that you are a pharmacist and doing something that is passionate, that you're passionate about, and pushing that out through not only what GRX Marketing is going to empower you to do, but Pharmacy Podcast Network. When we help you build your podcast, to be on the lookout for that. We're not going to announce it quite yet until the website is up, but you've heard it here first. We're going to build you a podcast turnkey service, and we are partnering with GRX Marketing into making that happen. And we don't know quite how exactly 100%, but it is coming. So be on the lookout for it.
I'm excited. Thank you.
You're very welcome. Anything else you want to wrap up before we go? Because we have dinner reservations.
I don't think so. No, I just appreciate getting together, and it's great to see your new studio. So congrats on everything that you've done over the years and how you've grown it.
I'm going to convince you to build a little studio in your office.
We'll see. I'm almost out of space already. We just moved in March, and we hired 3 new people this year. So
running out of space.
Yeah.
All right.
But that's a good problem to have. So
yes, it is. Hey, thank you for tuning in. You are listening to This Week in Pharmacy's preface. So we're testing this whole model out on you, the listener. This Week in Pharmacy is a brand new show coming from the Pharmacy Podcast Network. It's a way for us to communicate with our listeners, to do a wrap up of all things happening in the pharmacy profession. Won't be able to do everything happening because there's way too much happening, but we'll definitely take a summary. It's starting on January 6th, 2023. January 6th is the release and the launch of This Week in Pharmacy, which is actually a secret dedication, and I could call it a love letter to the profession of pharmacy and for pharmacists. But it's going to really give us an opportunity to talk about so many things that are impacting the effectiveness of what is pharmacy care. And I cannot wait to launch the show, because there are so many people out there doing some amazing things in artificial intelligence and in testing, like we just had mentioned, as well as specific disease state discoveries. I've talked with pharmaceutical manufacturer companies who want their pharmacists to talk about the coming of new clinical trial opportunities in community pharmacy, which, by the way, is something I'd love to talk to GRX Marketing about, and you about how to market your clinical trial business that could literally encompass your community.
Yeah.
All right. More to come.
Sounds good.
Thank you for tuning in.